It's your girl Mehz back at it again with another little talk. I'm here with
Keegan. You know Keegan.
You know Keegan and Cruize right here. How you guys doing?
Awesome. So we're going to be asking Keegan some questions today. First off, let's start about how your quarantine is. I know we're all locked up and we're all just, chilling on the indoors. So how has this time been for you?
This time for me has been awesome. We were talking a little bit before the interview and I was saying, I was just looking for time off for a while and not taking time off. And then just like that, here you go. Here's all the time you need. So I have been reading a bunch, learning a bunch, thinking and planning a lot of cool stuff to do. And there's a lot of this was a big wake up call too, because it's just like, you see how many businesses are like 1 month away from just closing their doors. I just got there's a blog TO write up and there's a restaurant right across the street from me where I live. And after 16 years, they just closed their doors.
Crazy.
So sidetracked a little there, but my quarantine's going pretty well.
Let's start off though by getting to know a little bit more about you and BEATCAVE. So how did that come about? Where did this idea stem from?
The very first idea.
I guess it's a lot of different things, but the thing is I've always just helped people, be in the music world or industry or whatever you want to look at it as. And then I started to build a larger network of producers, and then it kind of clicked with me. What is second nature, or you think everybody knows, could be a huge learning experience to some people. And then I remember there was one day I was just looking for something new to do, and I just jotted this. I'll just sometimes like jot ideas down of like, what else could I be doing right now? Or what's a new idea I could do right now? And one was like, there was this one studio I was renting out in Toronto called Links, Shadow Links, dope place, dope facility, amazing people. And I was engineering in this one studio, this one room, and I was looking around and it was huge. And I was like, I'm only bringing an artist with their friend or 2 or 5 or whoever people in here, but it was so big. And I'm like, I bet I could just rent out this space and then like bring producers in and then do some kind of workshop with them. And then that was the idea for the first one, and it just evolved since there. And then one of the key moments as well was Jerome. So Jerome was, I was and still an engineer to this day. And he hit me up on Instagram and he's like, yo, I want to book a session. And I was like, all right, dope.
Jerome book a session.
And it was like no other session. Yeah. It was like no other session because I always just ramble. I always just like share my mind or whatever. But like he was asking questions and shit, and he just kept bugging me on like, because he has a producer page called Kingdom of the Keys, and he thought, or his idea was like online producer battles. That's the community he's gonna build. And then just like that, he came around in the studio, and I'm like, no man, like the behind the cell phone thing's cool, but people want to show up to a place and they want to like be a part of something.
Yeah.
And then,
this is so sick.
Yeah. And then we just outside of there, we did a second session. We did the same thing, just talk, and then we started phone calling and shit. And then I was like, I just pulled the trigger, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna book a day. I had enough things going where I had this idea before to again help producers, but I was like, all right, is a digital world, I can like make things like presets for mixing shit. If you know what that is, you know what that is, but the people watching, if you know what that is. So I was like going into songs, I'm gonna sidetrack a little bit, but I was going into songs I was doing mixes for, and I was doing everything. I wasn't using presets, I was making the effects, and then I was just saving it as like cool names. And I was like, all right, I've seen people doing like melody packs and drum kits, but nobody's doing like presets for VSTs. So I tried one, and then one person bought it from me, and I was like, oh, dude, I gave up on it. I should have stuck with it, but I just gave up on it. But I had this Shopify. If people know what Shopify is, it's just like an online website you could just sign up for, pay a couple bucks a month, and just like sell digital goods. Or if you make things, people can buy and they can ship it out to you. And I had the domain. So I booked the studio for, I think it was like 8-hour block. And then we just invited producers out. We sold tickets. We went to the website that I had, and we just switched over, Keegan for BEATCAVE stuff. Just wrote up descriptions and stuff, and then just sold tickets to it.
That's dope.
And from there, every single one was A, a learning experience, but B, we just like talk immediately after and be like, all right, what do we like from that one? What do we hate from that one? What are we cutting right now, and what are we adding to the next one? And every single one from 1 to 7 has been innovative and pretty much very different.
let's say even from the last BEATCAVE, what's something that you learned? Like, you know, you learn something every time from the last one, kind of where you guys are now. Like, what's the next move? What's kind of, okay, this is going really
Well,
good.
there's a couple problems in there already. The first problem is what I learned after the last BEATCAVE. I mean, it fell short because we went into this quarantine pandemic, so we had to immediately just drop ship and figure some new shit out.
Yeah.
So I guess what did I learn from the last one? I learned brand is huge, and like BEATCAVE as a name and as a brand, like producers and artists trust us, and I know that we do dope shit. So it's just like we can do these cool things like camp, which it's not. See, you both haven't been to what was a BEATCAVE, which was like this learning experience for producers, which it started as, right? Camp was this like really cool event we threw, and I mean, you know what it is, but we can just do dope music events and people trust us to be like, that's going to be a dope music event. Show up and then just be like amazed at what's being presented.
I was honestly very amazed with like how many people were there. Like I hadn't gone there, but he's been there before me to the first one. And he came back from it and he was like, it was literally the best day of my life. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? I want to go.
No, he sent me a message and it was one of those ones that like, you just screenshot because it was just like, yo, it's one of the best days of my life. And sometimes you gotta just keep those a look at it and be like, this is why I do this shit.
Yeah.
Bro, for real. I definitely felt that.
Yeah, after I went, I was just like, I understand. This is like the best community to like be in. Everyone, like, there's no stupid ideas here. Everyone's just like so accepting of each other. Yeah. And they just coach you and guide you. And like, that's it. That's all you need, really. Yeah. Like, you know, to just feel
everyone good. Wanted each other to win, literally.
It was such a time for it. Like, I think people think something like this is way too far-fetched, but I mean, it's for sure something I would have wanted and want right now to attend, even the level I'm at.
Yeah.
Not to say anything, but it's like I would love to have this event in the city and everywhere possible, but for people to just show up to and be like, well, there's a big name over here, a big name over here, and I can just talk to them. Because all we've ever been told before is like, you got to sneak into the concert over here and hand this person a USB and hope that they listen to your stuff over here and yada, yada, yada. And it was just so far-fetched that it was like, what if you could just pull the veil on these people and just show it for what it is? Like, people who have platinum records are just opening their FL sessions, playing their beats and being like, this is how I made it. I think it's sick.
Amazing.
And just everyone benefits, really, no matter the level you're at. The networking that you can gain from it is just, you know, that you can't even explain it. It's just different than staying at home, just working hard. Like,
or even just through scrolling through the gram. Like, the people are right there in your face and you have like the chance to make a genuine connection.
Yeah.
I think there's a cool thing that happened too where, and maybe I'm just looking too far into this, but it's like the whole thing lives on Instagram and everybody found out about it through Instagram. So then you meet everybody there and you add each other on Instagram and then you even go home and it's like everybody's right there again and you're still keeping up to date with everybody. And then you go back to the next event and it's like some of my closest contacts and friends and people I work with are from BEATCAVE now.
Yeah, honestly.
We did actually a podcast with one of the guys that we met there, and we're like, yo, you guys brought us together because we didn't know him prior to that.
Exactly.
And like after that event, we had a good conversation, we added each other, and then we just linked up and we made some cool shit.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Let's go on to another question. You have a lot of things under your belt. So you are obviously co-founder of BEATCAVE, engineer, producer. Yes. How is that? Like, what's your favorite part of your jobs? Jobs plural. And enjoy.
I don't exactly know what my job is, to be honest with you. I think it's just that underlying tone of hustler where like even if you go back in the past, like I was trying to like sell granola bars out of my locker in high school just to like continually always make money and shit. But I guess then I figured out like when you had to be an adult and like when you had bills to pay and shit. And I had this whole moment where, here's the sidetrack, like working at Boston Pizza and just getting to the point where I was like, well, I got fired, but I was like, I just can't, I can't have a boss anymore. Like there's something about when people tell me what to do and it just makes like my skin boil, right? And then when you see like real life and you got rent and you got bills and shit, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna just figure out how to make money off what I love as well as helping people and then let that cover the bills. So from there, it's always just been one step from, I went to audio engineering, Recording Arts Canada school right out of high school. then I thought it was engineering. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna work my way up the studio ladder, which I thought, because through like movies and shit, you're just kind of told, you go in, you intern, you work your way up the ladder, and almost like a corporate job where it's like you see your career through. Even like there's old guys in there. And then you learn really quickly today, the model's completely flipped, and there's no studio jobs. Nobody gets hired. Like a couple people do, but like you don't just like go and get an internship and then work your way up the ladder. And I got refused so many times. And then I met one guy who I think was, well, not I think, he was very entrepreneurial like myself. And he kind of broke it down on the back of a pizza box. And he was like, all right, your rent is this, and your cell phone is this, and your food is this. So if you can just book this many sessions and charge this amount per hour, you're covered. And that was the first time I had this aha moment where like, I only knew corporate shit. I only knew going in and bringing a resume and like wearing a shirt and tie, and like, it just always felt wrong. And I don't know if this was like universe shit or what, but like it was the first month, and I had a little bit of momentum going into it, but the first month after I got fired from Boston Pizza, I just miraculously had enough people call this studio and find me through things like Kijiji and whatnot that I just had sessions booked. And then I had my rent paid, and then I had my rent paid again. And it was like super frightening shit being somebody who it's super month to month, like you're just working every single cycle, right?
Yeah.
But you just keep going with it. And I was like, holy shit, like I'm paying my bills from recording sessions. I'm going to condense this, but like from there, you realize it's Toronto. All my sessions, the majority of them were hip hop. They were rappers. They were questionable characters is what I'll call them, okay? People who need to show their faces in music videos because it cannot come back to them.
Yeah.
And I would just find myself in the seat, and they would be asking for things like beats because they start finding out about, they go to upload their music video, and it's saying like you can't get any money because your beat's stolen off of producer ABC's YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. So then they start looking for beats, and then through stuff like social media, when I post up that I got this beat over here, well then people start to go, oh, you make beats, and then they hit you up and they go, hey, let's hear some beats, let's get some beats. So continually putting time into the engineering, the production, the this, the that, just years at that, going from studio to studio, just working with artists and building that up. And then again, I was building up a network of producers, just being friends with people, networking, stuff like that. And then this idea of BEATCAVE just kind of blossomed, and we're here now.
That's dope. It's all been one journey that kind of like wraps itself together in the end. Definitely. And now it's starting to just turn into something else.
Definitely.
Any tips and tricks that you have for any upcoming engineers, producers, artists that
something that they might need to hear?
Yeah.
Well, if it's gonna be that broad, as in like artists, producers, engineers, just like creatives as a whole.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say just try somehow to be innovative. I know it's so easy to fall fate of like sounding like your inspirations and just copying people, but it's like, and even something I'm looking for and struggling with right now, it's just like try to stand out somehow, do something different, do something creative.
Yeah.
Innovation always kind of like, does well, so that's for sure facts. Stands out.
I got another question. What is your favorite style or genre of music?
My favorite style or genre of music. Okay, honestly, I can't pinpoint one, but I've been listening to a lot of Mexican cafe music lately.
Really?
Just go on to Spotify, type something like that in, and just lose yourself. Mexican
cafe?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even know what to like. I'm just trying to like in my head like.
Cool. Let's do it.
Like.
It just feels like you're on vacation.
All right, let's do it. We need a party after this.
Yeah, no, this was awesome, guys, though. Thanks.
Yeah, well, thank you
this was sick. Thank you for sharing that knowledge with us. Appreciate it.
Least I can do.